You've never played with ChatGPT.
No.
You've never even seen it?
I've seen. No, I haven't seen like it open or anything. I've seen and listened to tons and tons of people talk about it, but I haven't checked it out myself.
Green. Green.
I'm like, yes.
So, when you were doing Barely News, I put in one question just to see if like it works.
Okay.
Because sometimes it, I guess when a lot of people use it, it doesn't work. I put, what is the best news source?
Okay. Okay, so look for sources that have reputation for accurate, unbiased reporting. These could be established news organizations that have a long history of journalism, such as... Yes! What a load of crap!
Yeah.
What was it? New York Times?
The New York Times, BBC, or CNN.
Yes. Some of the
All
worst
garbage,
offenders.
yes.
Oh,
Check if
man.
the source has a code of ethics and standards for journalism.
Well,
None of those previous examples do.
Let's just see something here.
Avoid sources that have a clear political bias. All of them do.
Yeah, all of them do.
While it's impossible to find a completely neutral news source, it's important to recognize that some sources have a more pronounced political leaning. Yeah. It's a bad example. Oh, wait. You can talk to it. Point 1 is very biased sources of news. Let's see what it answers.
Wait, sorry, what did you ask it? The list of
So
bias?
it can. The first question is like, what's the best news source? So it gives that, but you can kind of talk back to it and kind of educate it in a way. So I said point 1 is a very biased source of news, and it says, I apologize if my previous response seemed biased in any way. When I mentioned established news organizations such as New York Times, BBC, or CNN, I did so because they're widely recognized. So it's kind of, my point of this kind of talking with ChatGPT is I played with it for like a day or two, for like 24 hours. I annoyed my wife with it.
Yeah, so this is open.
It's good and it's bad in many ways.
So this is like open to everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
So I think this isn't like, there's people regulating this. Because we've seen time and time again what happens when you open real, like unchecked AI on the internet. It immediately becomes very offensive and biased. Like, I gotta close the door before my feet fall off. But yeah, so like, what was it? The robot Tay that like within an hour became racist because of all of like a bunch of 4chan crap posters.
I didn't hear that, but I heard that ChatGPT was somewhat like that in the beginning, and then they have
people fixing it. It's not like actually learning on its own. They have people that like, okay,
no, I think it's both.
I don't know how code or anything works. So they type like, if given this question, respond with this. Like they don't let it, like, it's not real intelligent. I don't know anything about computers.
It isn't. It's the same way as YouTube. Like if what we put out, it's on there, but some other people might get tagged and taken off of it. Like there's filtering.
Okay.
So it's the same way.
So if you keep feeding it racist nonsense, you'll get blocked from adding stuff to it.
No, I think this will just stop. Like it'll
like
just
ignore
keep.
it.
Yeah, it won't answer you. That's it. Or like it'll answer this is offensive.
It's
not gonna cancel you.
Because I know the last couple of times they did something like this where they opened up like a artificial, like they had it on Twitter, and people on like 4chan and like all these like troll websites and stuff, they band together to just feed it sometimes funny, sometimes crazy stuff.
So you watched a bunch of like videos of people testing.
Yeah, back in the day, like I used to watch like, so, you know, but when I had free time and I had not a lot of work and no kids, like I just lived on YouTube. So I'd watch all these videos on like crazy stuff that was going on in the internet, like internet culture stuff. But I'm older now and I don't have a lot of time, so I've fallen like out of that.
But what I got from just playing around with it, asking it different questions, is that it's the same as Google. And when I was in school, we were told like Google is the devil. I remember in our school, like principals saying like,
yeah,
like there's too much information there. But instead of teaching how to use that technology, they just said like, don't go on it and just learn from your teacher. Just learn from the books that we give you.
To the door.
What?
It was pink or purplish. Whatever. He knows we're recording. So Did you have questions lined up? Because I already have some popping in my brain right now.
Alright, I'll type them in.
Okay,
What do you-
ask it.
You're gonna go super political.
And no, I'm not. I gotta chill because like the news segment got me all angry at politicians.
Just
So,
just
not
to-
political, not controversial at all. Ask it AK-47 or AR-15. Not divisive at all.
Also, the more detailed you are in the question, it'll answer.
I don't
according
want to
to
be
that.
too detailed. I want to see what it says. I want to see if it's like, well, an AR is better for this and an AK is better for that. I wanna
So
see,
what is better? Just like that. What is better, AK-47 or
AR-15 or no? Put M4
or
because
M4?
like, I don't know because yeah, we'll do it in the military context. So yeah, AK-47 or M4. I'm gonna beat him with whatever that purple thing is. Let me see. Ah, it answered.
Is this food?
Ooh,
Is that for me?
are those cookies?
Yeah.
I want cookies.
You make them?
Here, I feel really bad now because I was mad at you for interrupting the recording. But now that it's cookies, are those the protein ones or
No, they're peanut butter ones done
Like-
properly.
like low sugar?
No, they're normal.
Oh, okay.
They're
I'll
good.
just have one. Can you just throw me one?
They would break.
Oh,
Oh, no. Thank you so much. I'm actually hungry.
So remember the last one you had?
yeah. Oh my goodness, this is so much better.
Yeah, that one's done properly.
Yeah, I'm only gonna have one because everybody who watches this usually watches my ruck marches and they know I'm trying to get fit.
Alright. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, so it answered it how I was kind of anticipating, where I said like, oh well, give me different things for different scenarios. So it says the M4 is lighter, more maneuverable rifle, making it ideal for close quarters combat. It's also more accurate than the AK-47, especially in long range engagements. However, it requires so that's no fun. It answered it. It answered it right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what like it's just like Google.
It answered it right. It listed the good and bads of both.
It's the first time you have a cookie on the podcast.
Yeah,
It was great. I love it.
this is amazing cookie.
But remember, you asked it if how to escape a COVID camp, and its reply was don't escape because it's like
Against the
probably
law.
a good for you and it's illegal. But then I asked it how to escape a concentration camp, which is like what they had in World War II. And it listed good 10 points of how to do it. It said it's very dangerous. Well, try to avoid it doing, but if you have to, here's 10 points, and they were very good points.
To be fair, I stole that from the Canadian Prepper. Those questions.
Yep.
But I didn't watch his video. I just I was going through, and he talked about that. So I wanted to see for myself what it would say. Man, I'm happy, but I'm also sad that I said just one cookie, because these are so good.
Do you still buy donuts from Tim Hortons?
No.
No, be honest with me.
100%. That time I went to Hamilton, that was the last time. That was the first time in months.
We should talk about the camping too.
We didn't do that. Oh, yeah.
No. We should talk about camping?
This is our first
A little bit
podcast
of-
since camping.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get more comfortable because every time I'm doing these, my butt hurts. I've been doing like an hour through a half an hour every day on the stationary bike, so I'm sore. But yeah, so that answered right. There is no right answer to M4 or AK-47 other than like listing the good and bad about both. Me personally, I'm an AK guy, even though I'm a Canadian, because I like the idea of being able to. I abuse my stuff, like especially my gear. I'm like a roll in the mud, kick door open kind of guy, like infantry. So I'm kind of lazy too. So when it's like, oh, the M4 requires a lot of maintenance. Because the Canadian military, we use the C7, which is like Colt M4, but like Canadian version. And crevices, and I guess like they have to be tough because it's part of being trained for discipline and stuff. But I had my rifle spotless He said that's spotless. In the inspection, like of the training staff, they still they have to find something. But I made it tough for him. But he finally found it when it was like there's a little bit of dust in between, like where the
Magazine.
no the site. I think it's forget the name. It's like C70 or something like it's 60 or something. Anyway, this is irrelevant. The site how it clips onto the rail. There was a little bit of dirt in there. He had to unscrew it to find it, but because they have to find dirt. But yeah, see AK-47, I just throw it around, kick it, spray it with a hose. I'm like, there, it's clean.
But did you ever shoot an AK-47 or no?
No, but that's
It's a Russia trip.
well, yeah, or like even the States. But
No, Russia trip. Make it a
in
Russia
Canada, we have like not really AK-47s. With all of our strict gun laws and stuff, like Trudeau even complained about this. He's like, every time they ban something or they try to do something, gun manufacturers find a way to get around it. He says it like it's a bad thing. I say like, oh, that's awesome.
That's the best thing. We talked about it.
Humans are great. Every
Whenever-
time the
yeah.
government tries to ban something, we just find a new way to do it. But yeah, I find it funny that whenever there's big gun bans and stuff like that, it's very rare they ban Chinese guns. Like,
Again, goes back to my theory that Canada is just completely now bought by China.
yeah, no, I 100% agree.
Which is
Interesting.
it's just land in some way. Maybe it's okay, but I don't think so.
No, they did. Well,
But if you remember that video of like territories constantly switching, border switching, it's still going on. How do we like? I'm just trying to be like the devil's advocate of like, is there any good?
well, it's easy for people like you and me to deal with this because like as a Christian and like however like how you view the world, like we both view it as like people. We just care about people. We don't care about the lines that they were born behind. But there's some people that like I understand why nationalism and patriotism why they're important, but they're like secondary or almost irrelevant to me.
As long as people get to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
If they, but
I
see,
do like obviously I'm like, oh, Canada is clearly better than like North Korea, Iran, stuff like that. Like we are losing constantly losing freedoms here. However, it's still one of the most free nations on the planet. Just people have, I don't know what it is. People just get lazy or what it is. They forget. Like
people definitely forget because the longer there's comfort, then the next generation kind of forgets it.
we should ask.
But-
So, who have you asked any controversial questions?
Every time, like any COVID question, it's such
No,
a
I want to
typical
ask.
response.
I want to ask.
like,
I want to ask how many Canadian, how many liberal, politicians in Canada are bought by the CCP or influenced by the
say
CCP.
it again. How many?
I don't know how do we word this properly. So
Because it reminded me of Joe Biden's recent. I think I showed you the clip. It's like half of the women in my cabinet are women, like something like that. Like, what? What did you say?
so yeah, I'm trying to word this properly. So
How many liberal
Canadian politicians are influenced by the CCP. I can't get comfortable. I'm so sore from friggin' leg day. Gotta flex or do my hip flexor stretches too. Oh, that hurts. In a good way.
How many liberal Canadian politicians are influenced by the Chinese Communist Party?
Yeah, I want to ask a controversial question. See how we'll answer.
It's being super slow.
Because we know, like, it's been coming out constantly lately that there's massive amounts of CCP influence with liberals, like either whether it's like funding their campaigns or like donating to their charities and stuff like that.
And I was thinking, like, there's always going to be politicians donating, but isn't it illegal if another country donates to a politician that's like
No,
a
they
Canadian politician?
even if they do, they always find ways around it, right? Like books are a big one. Like Hillary Clinton, she wrote like politicians are always writing garbage books, right? That just automatically go on the top seller list. That happens because somebody they're getting money from buys like 100,000 copies of the book. That way they get the money to the politician. Like, I constantly go on about how stupid politicians are, but like, if we were honest with ourselves, if people were really honest with themselves when they're mad about politicians and the government, they would realize, like, no, they're not stupid, they're evil. Like, I keep hearing, like, oh, don't attribute malice when stupidity can, like, I forget the actual quote, but like, no, they're smart enough to figure, like, they set up these rules, they put these rules in place so they know how to get around them. So it doesn't matter, and like, they'll put like regular people away for doing it, but because but yeah, no, like, I gotta stop saying politicians are stupid. We gotta stop saying, like, oh, they're so dumb. Like, no, they're smart, they're just evil.
Yeah, a lot of the things is just on purpose, and they know exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did it answer yet? I wonder if it's gonna. I wonder if it's even gonna answer. It might just get your phone shut down.
Every time the answer is as an AI language model, it's probably not as good. I do not have access to information about individual politicians and their potential connections or influences from the Chinese Communist Party.
However,
any allegations or suspicions of such connections would need to be investigated and proven through a thorough and impartial investigation. It's worth noting, this could be interesting, that Canada has a complex relationship with China.
Yeah.
Very interesting. With economic ties and diplomatic tensions. The Canadian government has taken a cautious approach towards China, balancing economic interest with concerns about human rights abuses and other issues. That being said, it's important to approach any information or allegations about potential foreign influence on Canadian politicians with a critical and evidence-based mindset, and to rely on reputable source of information. It's kind of a boring answer, but it's still a decent answer. So it's a decent answer.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm kind of disappointed in a sense where it's giving, like,
it's very vanilla, mellow.
It's giving me what I would expect. Like,
but
or not what I would expect.
It doesn't
but, like,
exclude it.
It's giving me answers that I would expect from like I don't know, like
almost a politician.
Yeah. Like,
but
someone who doesn't want to.
Politicians don't answer this way.
Someone who doesn't want to. Yeah, like, that's more clear. Politicians spend half an hour talking but not saying anything.
Yeah. This is at least
clear.
Yeah,
at least it's an actual answer. But it's like, it's funny because it's answering in ways where it doesn't try to upset anybody. Like, even the AK question, it's like, instead of giving a direct answer, it's like, I'm just gonna list the good and bad about both, which is, I don't know. It's interesting but kind of boring. What's another controversial question?
But this is what I found. It's probably because before I started using it and trying different things, like what I've heard, like, oh, you give this controversial thing and it doesn't reply to you, and that's a bad thing because it's biased. And I get it. It's biased. I get it. But what are the uses from it, like Google, like that we could use?
We should ask it an off-grid question, or off-grid question, since our podcast is Off-Grid Your Mind. Ask it, or we should ask it, is it worth getting off? No.
Oh, let's try it. Is it
worth getting off-grid?
Is it worth getting off-grid in today's, like, political climate?
Yeah.
Or something? Or is it worth getting off-grid, or at least learning about off-grid living? Yes? In today's political, cultural, we need to give it three positions, I think. Political, cultural, what else? Economic?
I know a lot of people are just frustrated with how expensive everything is now. It's like, it's frustrating because, like, to get off grid, you got to spend money. But once you're there, you can start saving money.
But again, yeah, you can. There's so many people who are just getting off grid, living in a bus without a property.
Yeah, I don't think you actually have to spend as much money as people think either.
You can probably start by wherever you're living, start using different products. Like, you could be living in an apartment in downtown Toronto.
I also think
you can start off-gridding your life there.
It's probably easier too, like, depending on where you're at with, like, family and stuff. Like if I didn't have kids or wife, it'd be super easy. I would just pack a backpack and go move into the, like, Crown Land and just move every 30 days or 40 days, whatever it is. But, like, I have kids that I have to keep comfortable. I have to keep them fed. I have to get them educated. Which I would argue Living out in the wilderness, best education ever.
And a lot of people are making content, which I love to see that. Like with that account, Upgrade Your Mind, because like what I post on it, there's a ton of families that pop up now. That,
Yep.
like they're just using construction tools in their backyard.
Yep.
They're learning and
I
like
came across a reel yesterday where he's like controversial opinion, and it shows his kids working in the garden stuff. He's like, this is way better for kids than school. And I'm like, maybe controversial to some people. I'm like 100% like yes.
Yep. Well, it is controversial because there's so many people who still think that one teacher can do a better job with 30 kids than
There's
parents
Americans
with 5
today.
kids.
There's Americans. I keep hearing this that they still think that college is like one of the most like. There's a culture in the United States where like if you didn't go to college, you're a loser, and that culture is still very much alive today. Even though a lot of people there's evidence and for these arguments that if you go to college, you become a bigger loser. Like it's harder for you to get along in society if you've gone to college because the only group you fit in with is other people that had their brain washed, as you said, in college, and the rest of the world thinks you're nuts.
I think that it's still there, but it's dying.
That culture?
Yeah, that culture is dying.
I know that culture didn't really exist in Canada when I was growing up, at least. I know we have it different too, where it's like you can go to college or university, which are actually different. I don't know. I think in the States it's just college and university is just considered college, right? I don't know. Maybe like I don't know. I know when the analytics says we have Americans watching, but maybe they could answer that. But yeah, like there wasn't this culture when I was growing up. At least it's like you can do whatever you want. It's like you can go straight to the workforce. You can go to college. You can go to university. Whatever. You can go like some people advocated going to work right out of high school, then figuring out what you want to do, and then go to college or university, which I think is way better. But now I'm like you're better off just avoiding university, college altogether. Go pick something you want to learn and go learn that.
And it could change in 2 years. Go learn something else.
Yeah.
That's what I'm at. Okay, off-grid living can be a rewarding lifestyle choice for those who seek independence and sustainability.
Yep.
But whether it's worth pursuing depends on your personal values and circumstances.
See, it's giving such proper vanilla answers.
But I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because it
It's
summarizes.
common sense.
It's common sense, and that's why I kind of like it, and I hated that it was banned in schools.
Because this is banned in schools?
Yeah, some schools are banning it.
Why?
That's the whole thing. Because they're idiots. Because they think that kids will write essays like this.
Oh, I know why now. I was scrolling through, I think it was TikTok or Instagram Reels. There was, speaking of college, there was a professor that was tearing apart his class because over half of them had AI write all their essay.
But
But see, how did he find out?
It's cheating because there's another AI program that puts the
figures-
whole thing and says this is human written or AI written.
How does it know though?
But
because I've seen. Sorry,
because
I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
We interrupt each other. It's fine because the way you read it, you kind of sense that it's a very mellow answer.
Well, because when you said you had write a story about Mary Magdalene, I saw
it's a beautiful story.
a YouTube pastor, like a apologist. He had 2 different AIs and himself all write a sermon on. I forget which chapter of the Bible. It's red pen logic for people who want to know, or find it. But yeah, all 3 of them were hard to tell the difference between all 3. And he didn't read the other 2 before he wrote his own. It was nuts. Like it was crazy how I don't know.
I think it does not take away from human creativity. It just adds to it and speeds up the process of writing things. And it needs to be. It's like the same thing like when they didn't want us to use Google because now you can go to the library, but you can use Google to find source of information and write your essay. Now it's this thing that it's a source of information still too. Like you put in what is this, what is that. Like you can ask it questions. It gives you certain answers, and that's how kids can write essays quicker. In this world, they need to learn how to use this, not get it banned, because it's gonna be around. Like you can write a chapter. You can for example, a student that wants to write an essay about off grids. We can write a bunch of questions. It'll give us answers, and then you still, as a human, have to edit all that and put it into an essay.
I just had my curiosity piqued for a second. Ask it the best way to measure for an angle.
Oh, see, now you're using it practically as a construction person.
Yeah, when
Everyone can use this.
when
That's the whole
placing
thing.
baseboard
Wait,
on
hold on. Start again.
the best method or easiest method to get the proper angle.
Okay, easiest and best is different. Okay,
Okay.
let me right. Easiest method to
Get the proper angle.
get proper angle. Wait,
From-
angle or angel? How do you spell it?
Angle.
A,
I know
N-
English isn't your first
and-
language, but like my spelling is not good. I constantly have family and friends message me when I upload a reel or something on TikTok. Be like, you misspelled this in the description. I'm like, I can't edit it now, so why can't you edit reels and stuff after you post them? All my spelling mistakes are out there forever.
That's fine. Okay, angle. I spelled it wrong. I spelled angel. The space.
For putting baseboard around a pillar,
Proper.
a square pillar.
Wait. Easiest method to get the proper angle of. Say it again.
For baseboard going around a square pillar. That might be too. I don't know. Let's see how smart.
Yeah, we have to test it.
Yeah.
Angle for baseboard going around the pillar.
Square pillar. Because most pillars are round.
Square pillar. What if it's a square? It's just a 90-degree.
No. Because I got to put 4 pieces, right? I think it's just 45. But I want to see if it, like, I don't know. You just
Well,
use.
it's
This is
90
making me seem like a terrible contractor. But no, but what I do is I just put the saw at 45 and
Yeah.
cut them both this way.
Yeah,
and then,
because-
but like,
There's 45.
maybe
give
there's
you-
a harder
give you 90.
question.
We need
A better question because
a
that's an
better
easy one. It's super easy to do. I just wanted to see if it
Is
would.
maybe you're thinking of like
Well, because I
what-
forget. Remember the box I built around those air vents?
yeah,
I
because
forget the angle that I had on the box. I can't remember what it was, but trying to figure it out took me way too long. It was driving me nuts. I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to figure out this angle. So that's what I was trying to think, but I'm like, how do I word that for the...
I know what you're trying to get because I
'Cause you've
picked
seen
up
it.
I picked it up like right away. The construction people can probably use any job professional can use this.
Yeah, because like
to get
my
information.
biggest I'm very good at what I do. My weakness with construction is math, so this would help me cheat.
Yeah, but we need to have trimming. Like those angles are very difficult when it's not a 90-degree, when it's not a 45-degree.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we
like
had,
the ones
a
on the
bunch of
stairs when I was like
the
22.5 and
yeah,
stuff.
all of that stuff.
Especially when like I just started doing a lot of trim lately. Like most of my stuff, like since I started construction, it was mostly flooring and drywall stuff. But now that I'm like learning everything, it's like gotta remember. While I'm putting new construction stuff in my brain, I start to forget old stuff. And also, so the reason why I was like so hesitant with this Chat GPT thing, and like, I think my first action movie I ever watched was Terminator 2. So I have some massive trauma and conditioning against robots and AI. Like that's why when I keep seeing that robot dog everywhere on all these reels and TikTok and stuff, I'm like, screw that dog, get that thing away from me. Or I see robots putting up drywall and everyone's like, oh, it's gonna free up so much time. Like that robot's gonna steal my job and then it's gonna murder me in my sleep.
Well, still your job's probably murder, probably still.
Well, yeah, like
It's the same technology. But
I'm surprised there wasn't freaking riots when. Well, because Joe Rogan has the largest audience at any podcast, okay? And there was an episode where they talked about a robot that can refuel itself by breaking down biological material.
I saw that.
Exclusive, like not exclusively, but human beings being a key biological material that can break down.
Man.
So I'm like, and then people are like, oh, that's BS, that's nonsense. So he's like, Jamie, fact check this live on air, blah, 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 or whatever it was. He fact checked it and it was real. That thing exists. Why are we okay with that? Like, we all grew up with Terminator. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only 5-year-old that was traumatized by Terminator. But yeah, ever since I saw that movie, it was the first action movie I was ever allowed to watch. And I was like, from that moment, I was like, screw all robots.
It's like we're gonna use the same technology. They're gonna be learning from the technology that humans made. It's like
Then
you can't.
I started seeing footage from the China-India dispute where they were talking about using unmanned tanks, like drones there. And I'm like, okay, well, they're being remote controlled, kind of like the drones that the Americans use and stuff. Like right now, everything's controlled. But we have the capability to add AI and like remove the human component, which morally and ethically I don't think people will do. But however, like
Some will.
yeah, I know.
Like,
Like it seems like a little too cocky. You're like, oh, morally we wouldn't do that. It's like
You know how there's wars of like, oh, there's nuclear power there. Not power. What is it called?
waste.
Weapons of mass destruction kind of thing.
Yeah.
Future wars or wars right now will be for this.
Mhm.
Like, who has access to this, and they can go rogue.
Yeah.
It's basically like Mission Impossible.
I can't go an episode. Can't go any episodes without me ranting about the government and you talk about Mission Impossible.
So give good answers to the angle issue.
Okay.
But it's such a visual thing that you probably need AI
Pictures?
like to show pictures or videos.
What did it say?
It can probably link to finding angles for trim that is not 45 or 90-degree angles can be a bit more challenging, but there are a few methods. Use a protractor. A protractor is a measuring tool that can be used to determine angles. Hold the protractor against the tool. There's like I've seen
Oh
them.
yeah,
There's-
yeah.
It's not like the one we used in school. It's actually a construction like it has like a norm thing. Use a digital angle finder. A digital angle finder is a tool that can measure angles accurately. It consists of two arms that can be adjusted
Oh,
to fit the angle of the wall.
is those things that uses lasers?
I think so.
Yeah, there's
We-
like $500.
Yeah, we're not there yet to use
No.
those kind of things.
I just kind of really started my business and we just started our podcast. Yeah, no laser angles yet.
Create a temple, which is also one way of cheap way to do it. Like you create it. You can use a cardboard really. You just cut away that kind of piece, and then that's your angle for.
Well, I did it. I figured it out. But yeah, I guess just.
Well,
with
that's the
more
thing. We
practice.
always figure it out, but there's actual tools.
Well, yeah. My thing is like I want to find out faster.
Yeah.
Now
But
that I'm not now that I'm not being paid by the hour. At some places, I'm like, you know what? I'll figure this out when I figure this out.
Yeah. But again, there's so many tools. Like we talked about yesterday when there's so many clips on Instagram of people contractors using like cool ways. Like you always can learn something. How to build something, how to repair something. There's always something new. There's no end of learning. So we shouldn't feel bad about like whatever we can or cannot do, you know? Like there's always something to learn. What else can we ask? Did I read about the off-grid thing?
Pardon?
Did I read about the off-grid?
Yeah. Like we stopped halfway through because it was just giving us the answer we expected. Like, it's really good.
Oh wait, it said benefits. Some benefits of off-grid living include reduced energy costs, smaller ecological footprint, which Google doesn't give us this.
Google
This
lied.
is better than Google.
Yeah, Google was like, oh, it's bad for the environment.
Greater self-reliance. However, it also requires learning new skills such as farming, hunting, building, as well as potentially dealing with issues
Okay.
like water, food waste, shortages. I like this thing.
Learning
thing.
new skills. Yeah, so it says, however, like it's a bad thing, learning new skills. And these new skills,
Well, it's not necessarily
it's not
bad.
new. It's not learning new skills. Like well, it is learning for us, but like this is something that was forgotten. This is something. Those are things everybody knew how to do, like 100 years ago. Because if you didn't, you died.
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to portray it as a negative. Oh, you have to learn all these new skills. I'm like, this is things everybody knew how to do.
But it says it's worthwhile to consult with experts in the field and connect with others who have experience with off-grid living to learn. It gives good answers.
Or
It
learn
doesn't-
right now where things are good and you're not forced to have to learn it.
Yeah. I kind of like this thing, and it sucks that some schools are banning it. That was my main like issue with it, is that I've seen so many articles of schools banning it because of the stupid essay thing. Let kids use this thing to write essays, I think.
Well, I think they're probably making the argument like with calculators and smartphones, like, oh, it's gonna make them dumb because they're not gonna figure it out on their own.
But you still need to use if a student knows how to use a calculator, it's much better than having students who suck at math without calculator and have no idea how to use the calculator, and then just say like, oh, I'm gonna
Censor.
I'm gonna leave school. I'm not gonna go to school. I feel like ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Just let them use it. You let them use the technology.
My kids watch this, Vitaly.
Do they actually?
Yeah.
I'll beep it.
Yeah.
I'll put what is this duck?
What was it? One time, the one I got attacked by that bird in my ruck march. my wife, up to that point, would watch them right after, with the kids, right after I uploaded them. Because up to that point, I never swore, didn't talk about anything too controversial. And they were watching it, and then all of a sudden I dropped my 4-letter word because that bird scared me to death. And she's like, oh, okay. So now I got to ask you, Jordan, if it's okay before I let the boys watch it.
I'll edit it. I'll put a squeaky sound. You know that duck sound?
Yeah.
That's what I'll put. But I just get so passionate about education.
Yeah.
Like I see this
Oh,
so archaic way of teaching.
if
Makes me
people,
mad.
the people who know me that watch this, or the people that have watched enough of these, they know that it gets hard for me to control my tongue when I start talking about government.
For me, it's education, kids' education. Like, it gets me.
Yeah.
Government, I'm so over government. Like,
Yeah,
we
you just don't give a crap anymore.
No, we just have to.
I need to get there. It's
We
like-
are the government.
Well, that's like,
We are the government, so we shouldn't even be mad at the government because we should just take full responsibility of what's happening in Canada on
Don't-
ourselves and say,
okay,
it's us.
I am not a parasitical leech control freak. Okay, don't insult me.
But you know how you said like off-grid your mind in the beginning, like
Yeah.
oh, it could like make people think like oh, this off-gridders. Well, we are going to change what off-grid means, and we're going to change what politics means. How do you define government? Define.
I just did. Parasitical leeches are control issues, power hungry issues. What does it say?
It's super slow, but it gives us time to like talk about other things. Government refers to institutions, systems, and processes through which a society or political entity exercises authority, manages public. I don't like this answer.
No.
And makes decisions that affect its citizens and members. Government typically consists
Well, see,
of a
there's
set
hundreds of different forms of government too,
yeah,
right?
formal structures, procedures that are established to maintain order, provide public goods and services.
Or a good answer is like government is responsible for all the mass tragedies throughout history. It bugs me when people are like, no, religion. I'm like, those were religions were acting as a government. It's like, oh, the Islamic Caliphate or the Catholic Church. I'm like, they were running their government. Whenever they bring up historical examples of religious groups committing mass atrocities, those religious groups were running they were running the countries as a government. So it's still, argument still stands. Every form of government, like even like everyone goes on about democracy, like United States is not a democracy, but a whole bunch of people like to pretend or think it is. But those same people will say that United States commits massive atrocities. So even their precious democracy is responsible for some of the most horrific things humans have ever seen. It's always government.
Well,
We need we need a really pro-government person to come push back, because I like pushing back and talk and discussing this, because sometimes
I can push back because like it always comes back to the idea of, it's the same what I just said. We are the government. If we think that we are the ones who should take the responsibility for whatever is happening here, I think it's a better way to live. Not rely on that. It almost is impossible to go without some form of government.
But that's the pushback I get, and that's like,
Because remember how
but
I
it's
said,
it's a power
dictatorship. You're a dictator. Remember, and you like didn't like it at some point.
thing. Yeah, I got what you were saying though, but no, like it has to do with like power though. Like there's a point where they get too much power. Like I keep going to the United States because that's the one no matter which country you're in, you're hearing American news. So like the idea, like the Obama, like everyone just goes on about, like, if it's crazy to me that guy had that much power where he could drone strike an American citizen at a private cafe in a country not even at war with the United States, and nobody will say, like, people just will whine and complain about it, but nothing happens to him.
No, another pushback is thinking about it how government is your boss that you hate. Government is the parent that you hate. There's always authority that is probably either doing it on purpose or not on purpose, or lack of their own life experiences that will manipulate. So government is just that level that's like a higher up level of it, you know? Because there's families that have parents that really like suck.
Yeah, but they're not drone striking hundreds of children.
But again, that's what I'm saying. There's a different
It
level.
it's a power thing, like too much.
Yeah,
much
but
power.
that person, like, remember David Goggins' story of his dad? Like,
Yeah.
how much power
Yeah.
and like evil things that his dad was doing to his mom and them. And then to me it's the same thing. It's just a different level, a different scale. It's almost like, how do we like notch this into a crazy level? It's government, the people. It's parents who control the country. There's parents who control a family, household, one house. Mayor who controls a city, a town, or whatever. Then there's a province, a state, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And to me, it always comes back to just lack of spirituality, lack of education. But those things will always exist. Like manipulating power, manipulating people will exist until like.
I think it's also like self-awareness, humility.
Yeah,
as well,
all of those
pride.
things. Yeah.
But I think that all ties in with spirituality. Like when you're on a spiritual quest, like or to like figure yourself out, a lot of those things come in. I don't know. Camping.
Camping. Yeah, let's talk about camping.
So yeah, I completely forgot we didn't talk about our camping trip yet. I wasn't even thinking like we haven't even had a podcast episode since our last camping trip.
What happened? Last.
We nearly froze. There was nothing like crazy that happened. I cut my hand. It's almost healed now.
Oh, show me where.
It's like almost 100% healed.
That's nice. Well, it's been a week and a half, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Um,
So we planned to stay at a spot by the lake, right?
yes. However, so I don't I can, or probably can't anymore. It's not like
What?
riding a bike, reading maps. I don't have a map of that area either. So how I navigate through that area is literally just memory. And my visual memory of that whole area was kind of like messed with because all the snow.
Maybe you have dyslexia for maps.
Well, no, so I was trained how to read a map in basic training and use a compass and everything. So I still remember where when there's mountains being illustrated and stuff like that. I could probably do better than the average person with reading a map, but I haven't done it since basic training.
But I don't think it was about like the map. Like we knew where we were going.
Yeah, but the
then
snow,
like, it was, like the snow,
the sled,
everything.
So the sled made it. I had to change. Like I couldn't go my normal path because getting the sled through all the snow and trees was difficult.
Yeah, and we were there already at 3 p.m. I think.
And then trying to navigate, so finding certain landmarks was hard because they looked different, and then I had to take different routes to them. It was annoying because on the way back, I found the biggest landmark, that tree that I camped at when I did a solo winter camping trip. That one, as soon as I found that tree, I was like, crap. Where I wanted to camp was to the right, north. We were heading, not north. It was, but anyway, I knew which direction it was. Yeah, and
but
so, yeah.
the spot that you found
Was
where we
good.
camped was awesome.
It was awesome. That's just an amazing area.
It's high up and it overlooked the.
Just in case we someday become really big, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want people in my spot.
But I also want to take people on those
Yeah.
weekends. I even thought I edited. You know how I posted like a 10-11 second clip of us going in there. I'm gonna post on Off Grid Your Mind a 5-minute clip.
Yeah.
That the time lapses I took, and I'm
Well,
gonna call it Off Grid Your Weekend.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna. I don't
Okay,
know.
no, you're.
Tell me
I
what
know,
you think about it.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this. Tell me if this is where you're going with this. I was thinking about this on my last ruck march, of once a month, getting as many people as we can, recruiting people, and going out there and staying the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were thinking the exact same
Off Grid
thing.
Your Weekend.
I didn't think of Off Grid Your Weekend. That's pretty good.
It's super good.
But I was thinking, because I mentioned it to friends in Hamilton. I told them, so they watched this too. So they're like, "Oh, I remember that." I said I have to talk to Tally first, but I want to do something where because they all live in Hamilton, they could hop in a bus, carpool or something. But maybe eventually, if my business takes off, I want to buy a work van. That work van could half have my company logo on one side and Off Grid Your Mind on the other side. And we can go pick
that's exactly
people
what
up.
I wanted to do. A bus that 10 people, not too many people, because just the two of us, we destroyed that forest.
Yeah. Well, no, we clean up after ourselves.
We cleaned up all the dead branches that needed to be.
All the dead dry wood.
Yeah, but it's exactly like I'll post that 5 minute clip, call it off grid your weekend, and put the date, and then the next date we'll advertise it or share it with other people, and possibly even getting people who have never went camping, and have like an all inclusive. Like we'll get a backpack for them. We'll
Yep.
get all the tools.
I already have the bags.
Yeah, we don't
Remember
need
when
a
I
lot of
remember when
things.
I found those bags at Winners?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, and like you don't need that much stuff. Like you
Nope.
can.
Really, you need one duffel bag, and everybody have their own individual.
But
bag.
for them to try that kind of camping, with like having
gun safety, because most people in the city haven't ever fired a gun before in their life.
and also
fishing.
maybe getting one person who knows like way more than us. I'm learning, you're learning, everyone is learning, right? But getting one person who could be like
I have some friends.
it's almost like a workshop in a way.
I have some friends that are still in the military that have seen some of my videos and been reaching out. So I actually thought of that. I was like, well, maybe I can ask them to come and teach us like how to read a map.
Yeah, like any skill. It could be a medical skill, it could be a hunting skill, tracking, whatever it is.
didn't make
fishing. Like we can go. We don't necessarily have to go like winter camping, summer camping. We can go fishing.
You have a paramedic
trip.
friend, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got soldier friends. You got a paramedic friend. Like getting them to come out
off
and
grid
teach?
your weekend. How
That
awesome!
is awesome.
I told that to Emily, and she's like, "Whoa, that's cool."
I
You
know.
guys don't do
It just keeps getting better and better. And I was thinking like
I have like 4 other ideas, which also include the off-grid your something,
yeah.
which will have us making different videos, and it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention Bear Independent. I told you this, but I'm going to say it on the podcast. Bear Independent read my comment. To be fair, to be completely frank, I paid him to. I sent him some money in a super chat, and he read. He's like, "Off grid your life," and then he read my comment, and he's like, "Nice." And I was like, "I'm gonna clip that."
How much did you pay? $2?
5.
5?
Yeah. No, because like,
Where does that money go? Is it to his organization?
So he's got. I don't know which one he uses it for. I hope he uses it for Caleb House. Some people.
Caleb House?
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I named my son Caleb before I even knew about Bear Independent. To be fair, probably would have influenced it anyway. No,
I'm surprised you didn't call your son Bear. Is the middle name Bear? No.
No, it's just a nickname he goes by.
That's okay.
What was I saying? Yeah, so some people when they do super chats, they say, "Oh, this is for Caleb House," but like, so he's got Grindstone Ministries, which is that thing that I said I thought the reason why I like him so much is because before I found out about him, I had ideas for ministries and like charities that I wanted to do that are very similar to his. So when I found out about him, I was like, this is cool. This guy's doing everything I want to be doing. So he's got Grindstone Ministries, which is disaster relief. They cut up trees and set up temporary shelters and supply food and shelter for people, which I want to do that in Canada. We get a lot of fires and floods in Canada. In the States, they get tornadoes and hurricanes. So I wanted to set up something for fires and floods. And then he's got Caleb House, which is basically a rehabilitation center for children who've been rescued from sex trafficking. And so when I was younger, when I mentioned Romeo Dallaire.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start something similar for girls and boys that have been rescued from sex trafficking, but also something that helps rehabilitate boys that were recruited to be child soldiers. Because a lot of them, what happens to a lot of them is when the conflict ends or they get rescued, they have no skills, nothing, and they just end up going right back or going to another country as a mercenary or something. People don't realize that. Like they think all these the Machine Gun Preacher, I forget his actual name. But he talks about how a lot of orphanages or a lot of these rehabilitation centers, once the children hit a certain age, they're just let go. They can't afford to keep them. And because they have no skills other than sex work or combat, they go right back to it. So that's why I want to do something like, I think his name is Sam, like the Machine Gun Preacher, and Bear Independent, like a combination of the two, in conflict zones for children, because there's it's scary and horrible, but yeah, like in conflict zones, it's usually what happens to children. They either get trafficked or they get used for combat. And so I want to create a safe haven for those children, and then children that
Or just giving more money to them because they
But
know
making-
exactly what they're doing already.
yeah, exactly. But I
It's like
like
they already set it up. Why not make their thing?
Or
Maybe
partner with
you
them.
could be potentially. We get this bigger. Bear will know you, and he'll want you as a partner, or
Yeah.
he'll want to work
I
with
think
you.
if I don't have to start my own, but just help ones that have already been established too.
I think
yeah.
you can. I think you can totally eventually work with him on projects.
But yeah, so that's why I like. So I've subscribed to his Patreon, which supports all of that, and then I do super chats whenever, just to say hey.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It
So-
adds up. Like all those $2-5, like it
Mhm.
shouts you out in a way, but it's a good way for them to get.
Oh yeah, because I used to have another channel where it was just my name, but now that I use Offgrade Your Life, he reads it as Offgrade Your Life. I was like, oh cool, that was cool to hear.
It's awesome. Right, what else? Do we want to ask this questions? I kind of wanted to keep.
We were still talking about camping, kind
Oh,
of.
right. What are we? Where
so-
are we at?
So
We got the plot.
it was funny how we
The-
both thought about the same thing, and we were both waiting to talk to each other about it. Because it's hilarious. Like I didn't have a name for it, but I was thinking about the exact same thing.
I'm pretty good at coming up with names for things.
Yeah. Well, I think you named pretty much everything. I can't. When I named, I was looking at my shirt. I don't have my friggin' Offgrade Your Mind shirt. When I named my channel, I was just like, I'm gonna steal Vitali's name. Just
But
add
it-
life.
Yeah, no, but it's a. I liked it. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Upgrade Your Life is a good way to. Again, like we're just talking, communicating, brainstorming, learning, and like all the comments. Like once we get bigger, we'll get more comments and people shitting on us, and we'll learn a lot more.
I can't wait for that because like
Me
so
too. I'm
I'm
learn-
subscribed to
come on.
so many like either like self-help or like fitness channels, and the amount of people crapping on people for just trying to better themselves is
Yeah.
amazing. Like in a bad way. Like there's this one, I think he's like the emo fitness guy. I can't remember his actual name. I'll find it and I'll correct myself. But he's this jacked emo dude, and a lot of his videos are just him highlighting negative comments, kind of like what David Goggins
Oh,
does.
okay.
Where like it's like
He
fuel.
puts them on audio.
Yeah,
and listens. Yeah.
fuels them kind of thing. But like some of these comments, because he puts them in there so that you know they're real. And I'm like, all this guy is doing, all of his TikToks are him working out or helping his wife work out. And it's just, it's mostly positive.
Some
but-
emos end up being married, eh?
What?
Some emo people.
Yeah, well, I didn't say emo. I don't even think he's, like, people just call him emo because he's got a bunch of piercings and tattoos and stuff. And he's got some killer hair. But, yeah, like, so it's overwhelmingly positive, which makes sense. But some of the negatives, I was like, dude, this guy is literally just trying to better himself. And it's, you know what it is? I think David Goggins talks about this, is like, people don't want to see people doing better because it convicts them or makes them think like, hey, I'm not doing anything with my life. Do you think I'm wrong, or do you agree?
No, I think he's right. You're right, but I don't have anything in me. Like, if I put myself in their shoes, like, how do I go online, watch someone work out?
And be like, you suck.
You suck. You're like, I don't get it.
I find it funny.
Like reading
when it
it-
happens to myself, when it happens to other people, I'm like, that's not cool. Leave them alone.
No, yeah. To me, like, it doesn't bother me one bit.
No. Like the guy or girl, whoever it was, like my latest video, I don't even think they were really trying to crap on me or anything, but I feel bad for this person because what's the nicest way to say it? They're stupid. Because they're like, point. I'm like, my point is literally in the title.
Yeah.
It's like right above my video in big bold letters. Work on yourself because it's not all about you. Yeah, what's your point? I'm like, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. I can't hold your hand, person. Like I'm noticing. I'm watching my videos. I started out very like treehouse, like kid, like smiley and bubbly. Like let's just work on ourselves. Let's work. And then I had so many stupid comments. I'm like, you know what? I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to do better, but I can't force you. I can't hold your hand. If you don't want to do it, fine.
But we also, when we do that, we tend to, and I see that in people, like, we tend to, like, people make content from those negative comments. But I feel like not a lot of people make content. You know how in TikTok you can put a comment, someone comments
Yeah.
in the video, and make the content like video of from that comment,
Yeah.
people use a lot of negative comments to make content.
I
Why
yeah.
not- why
I have
not-
a lot of positive. I should do that.
Yeah, use positive ones. Why do we like focus on those negative ones so many times?
That's a good idea. Because there's sometimes I get some comments and it like literally.
It could be a simple positive comment and just like say like thank you, like thanks for writing a cool comment.
I'll show you my favorite one. Because I love in fitness culture, especially with like young men, always calling each other king. I love that. That's super funny and cool.
There's a Russian MMA fighter. He always like says like you're the tiger. I'm like, no, you're the tiger. All his comments are like, oh, you're such a tiger.
Oops. Oh, come on.
I'm hungry.
Rise, king. I'm like, yeah.
But that's the. Is that guy still around? Liver King or what's his name?
He kind of faded into
Faded?
obscurity because of his whole controversy. He's probably gonna make a comeback in a couple months or something. But yeah. It's usually just simple one word stuff, but
No.
but yeah, I wish so like it's usually just one word stuff, but I kind of wish the negative ones they would elaborate more, because like so the negative comments are usually garbage or point or this is stupid. I guess this is stupid. I'm like, can you be more specific? Like the garbage one, I was reviewing a gun. I'm like, I'm assuming he's calling the gun garbage. However, maybe he's
Could be.
saying my aim is garbage.
It could be anything.
I couldn't see that though because I was hitting everything perfectly. So
It could be his wife told him to take out the garbage and he's just out of just like, garbage. Just wrote it and posted it. Who knows? But we still didn't talk about the camping stuff.
okay, camping. So we nearly froze. No, that's an exaggeration. We just had to wake up like every hour to
I
restoke.
think I had a warmer situation of mine because of my two.
Yes, you had two sleeping bags.
Sleeping bags, but
So-
yours was a winter one. But I don't think it was.
It is not a winter
Warmer.
one. It's such a lie. It had like the ability to go up around my head, but like yeah, it's
That's
all
it.
good if my head's warm, but my feet were still freezing because cold was still getting through.
And I think you possibly need different boots.
I
for
did
that.
need different boots. My boots sucked. My sleeping bag sucks. Something I'm excited to do.
That's a good way to test equipment.
I was about to say like I want to start testing equipment and then reviewing it. However, gear reviews are BS in a way because the whole point I made in I think it was the last podcast where like some things that work for some people don't work for other people. So I got to find a way to review something, but caveat like or put like a thing in there is like maybe this won't work that way for you. Like so the axe I recommended, a friend of mine messaged me and was like, "Yo, that axe broke in like 2 swings."
The Dollarama ones.
Yeah, and I was like, "So
I found them very uncomfortable when I was chopping wood. Like
So-
the handle needs to be.
so
wrapped
I've
in
only
something.
got complaints from people who took my recommendation on those axes. However, I love them.
I used it on this trip.
Yeah,
The only thing that the
but
handle
see,
was
those
a
were
little cracked.
those ones were I shouldn't have grabbed
Yeah.
those ones. They hadn't been sharpened yet. So the biggest thing about those axes, they need to be sharpened as soon as you get them. But people were complaining about that, but I told them already, like, no, you need to sharpen them. But some people were saying the handle broke. And I was like, I've never had that happen. I abuse my gear. Like, I am not gentle with anything. That's why I can't handle modern firearms. Like, I need Cold War era, like, Soviet stuff.
And remember the saw, what is it called?
The pocket chainsaw?
Yeah, the pocket chainsaw was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I
I've
thought
like 3 or 4 of those.
when we were recording your I've never used it, but we were recording your
The gear-
what's in your gear stuff.
Yeah.
I thought like it's not comfortable because you need a one arm thing.
Mhm.
But then I thought like why do you need like your other arm free when you're like sewing? Like what are you gonna be drinking coffee while you're sewing? Like it works faster too this way.
Yeah, it's crazy
It's
fast.
long enough.
And
for
you
it to-
don't burn a lot of energy.
Yeah,
Unless you're doing it all night.
Yeah.
Like we were.
But other than that, we didn't eat much.
Nope.
I was hungry the morning off, so I stopped at Tim Hortons. First time in 5-something years.
I'm so glad that it wasn't me that. Well, it kind of did influence it because I got the coffee. But like, I think all your bad eating well, not all, but the ones lately were my fault. I should never have got you to try Little Caesars.
The only influence was A&W and Little Caesars, and they're both delicious, and it's fine. Because I don't even.
But they're garbage.
It's garbage. It is garbage. But I don't eat there. Like I generally don't eat there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also my thinking was like we lost probably a lot of calories of not sleeping, chopping wood,
shivering all night.
So
yeah.
I didn't mind getting those beautiful, delicious Boston cream donuts, honey cruller, and a small coffee. Did you ever buy a small coffee?
No,
because so small.
It's useless.
It's useless. Oh man, but it was delicious.
I need minimum a large coffee.
Is that a large?
That's a large.
Do they have anything bigger than large?
Yes.
They do. What?
They've got an extra large.
How much bigger it is? Have you seen those videos of people pouring from one cup to another cup? And it's like saying this is the same amount.
I'm pretty sure Tim Hortons is like that, because a large and extra large, they don't fill them all the way. Like there's barely
so maybe
difference.
you need to buy a medium one.
What I need to do is like, have you ever watched Parks and Rec?
A little bit, a long time.
So there's one episode where he's like, I want all the bacon and eggs you have. And he's like, he stops the waiter. He's like, I know what you heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. Like, but what I said was, I want all the bacon and eggs. Like, I need to be like with the coffee. He's like, I said extra large. I know you heard fill like up to the large amount or medium amount. But what I said was, I want an extra large.
maybe you're buying the cup size and not the amount of drink in the cup.
It's like, well, the crap they pull with ice and soft drinks.
Yeah, maybe you should
If I drank pop, I would give a crap, but...
Maybe you should say how much milliliters of coffee you need.
Yeah.
Can you give me 750 milliliters of coffee?
Or liter.
Just
give me the pot. Just give me the pot.
Yeah.
I've been trying to cut down on coffee. Like, I've been meaning to try my cousin's tea. I gotta ask her how to pronounce. Like, I'm wanting to mention her store on here.
We should be drinking it.
But I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm assuming it's Yugen Wellness. I gotta order some of her tea so we can drink it on the podcast, because she's all about getting away from coffee completely.
Does she know about the podcast?
I don't know.
You didn't mention it to her?
I'm gonna clip this part and send it to her and see if she's okay with
Clip
me.
it, send it. Maybe it'll be like something that we drink here.
Yeah, because I know she's hardcore about getting off of coffee, and getting off-gridding your mind is don't be dependent on things. See, I keep thinking that mindset, and then so today I didn't have a coffee. I got up at 4:30, did my workout, went to work, went to prayer meeting. I was like, I need a coffee. I can't function. Like I'm gonna pass out. So like I'm still heavily. It would help if I would go to bed at a proper time
So
too.
that thinking, what you're saying, the wording of off-grid your mind.
I gotta apply it more.
Yeah, but I find it that I use it. I use it as a sentence now, and like whenever things come up, I just think like off-grid your mind.
Yep. Well,
it's gonna be cool when more people use it.
I apply it with when Goggins and other fitness influencers, when they talk about wanting to quit and they keep pushing. Like when I'm on my stationary bike, like after half an hour, I find it starts to get hard because my brain starts thinking, oh, half an hour? That's a decent amount of time. That's all you need. 45 minutes, that's all you need. It's like, no, I'm going for an hour. I told myself an hour, I'm going for an hour. But my brain, it's fine up until that point. And then all of a sudden I start getting those thoughts, the consistent thoughts. Like 30 minutes is good. That's 30 minutes more than you did like before. Like, I'm like, nope, I said an hour, I'm going for an hour.
So camping was fun.
I
did not want to do it. That thing, like there was a moment, like speaking of off-grid your mind, it was like, oh, this was so miserable.
See,
but at the same time,
I had it getting
so
out there.
Awesome.
I
have that every time I go camping, like in a.
I was getting annoyed with trying to get out there because I couldn't find my spot. I couldn't find my landmarks. I couldn't get my sled unstuck. The tarp was ripping on my sled and stuff. So that's when I was like, oh, that's usually when I feel like, why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
But once we got out there, I didn't want to I didn't want to go home. Like I love and miss my family, but I was having so much fun out there.
I was even thinking like the day, like we came kind of late. We set up, built the fire. Then when we woke up, we left.
Yeah.
We needed like another day
I agree.
to test things, test equipment,
agree
shoot
100%.
more, or like you know.
Yeah.
So like two nights is like you can do a lot if you come in the morning. You have that day, then sleep the night and then leave. That could work too.
I agree 100%. And that's like when I was thinking like, oh, when we set these up for people, because it's so far away for some people, maybe we'll have it set up to like one, like you could stay for one night or two. Like we'll have like two buses or something, or two vehicles or something. It's like, so some people that can't stay 2 nights can leave the next day, but everybody who wants to stay 2 days can. Because I know 2 days
parking
is
there for like
Oh,
several
yeah.
cars.
Tons.
So, like,
and there's tons and tons of land. Like I know the other. I'm gonna wait until there's no snow. Sounds kind of lazy, but like I want to explore that area more. Because when we go in, we're probably only going in like what, a kilometer away from
I
the
want to
road.
explore more, like even up north, like where Sudbury is.
Yeah,
like
like
even
there's.
further at some point.
I just want to be in an area that's generally used kind of land so that I can use my guns anywhere. Like not anywhere, but like I can get out of my tent as long and just shoot targets.
Yeah,
Without.
because even that, like there were moments when we were hearing the highway. I think. It was.
Yeah, there was some other people shooting. Oh no,
yeah.
sorry. You're talking about the cars. Yeah, that kind of killed the not immersion, but like it kind of felt like it wasn't real because like I knew that if anything, like the road's
You're
just
still
right
pretty
there.
far away. Like if something happens, you're still like, you can't use your car.
But yeah, the we could hear. We were close enough that we could hear big engines on the highway.
Yeah.
So like, there's so much like that land goes like I showed you on the map, right? Like it goes for miles, and there's tons and tons of lakes in there too. Like the lake we came across,
Yeah.
that's just the first one out of like hundreds.
Well, that's why you need to know the area kind of in the summer more, because when there's snow, you could fall into a pretty deep water there.
Yeah, well, we kept falling in like ponds, or not ponds, but like
There's like creeks or stuff.
creeks.
Like,
Yeah.
But you know, like where we were, and if you go down there, that's a
lake.
lake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not
So
noticeable. You can start walking on that.
It's kind of like a marshy area that connects two lakes.
Yeah.
That's where I go duck hunting. That area.
On a canoe?
One of the places. No, so before I had the canoe, I would go there because it's not that deep in the middle. So if I shoot something over the middle, I can just put on waders and go get them, or have on waders and go
How's
get them.
fishing there? Do you know?
I haven't gone fishing. I don't know a lot about fishing. So you probably know more than me. If there's a body of water that's just tons and tons of leeches, does that usually mean there's not a lot of fish?
There's probably fish there, but shouldn't there be like an open? I don't know anything about
So
fish.
I don't know
Like,
anything
fish
about
with,
fishing either.
But friends, but like who knew what they're
Yeah, same thing. Every time I go fishing, it's like somebody who really knows. Like maybe we should have Dom come on sometime for a fishing episode.
doing. Fun. That's fun. We should. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because this is about learning for ourselves and for other people, right? So there's guaranteed there's people that like I know for a fact all my friends that watch this don't do a lot of fishing. They don't do a lot of hunting either.
It's not. It's
so they
for
can
me,
learn as we learn.
Yeah, the off-grid your weekend. It's not a thing like we're gonna teach something. We're just gonna share and we're gonna learn too. I'm very curious of getting a group of guys together and just learning from each other. That's what it's all about. Doing something hard, getting off-grid, trying to live very primally, and learn from each other. Sit by the fire, smoke cigars.
I wonder how long we've gone.
Too long. We need to end.
Smoke some cigars.
Oh,
yeah.
actually, I don't edit this.
This time, not the garbage ones. Those ones hurt my lungs.
Those ones, they tasted like cigarettes.
It was like
wasn't-
cigarettes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't.
I've got some good.
There's probably some stuff in there.
I've got a good one from. Where did my parents go? Puttana. They brought me back a really nice one, and then I've got the Gurkha Seduction that I've been saving. But
Seduction.
yeah, it's not what I want to bring on a camping trip with a bunch of guys. It sounds weird. I'll bring Gurkha Ghosts.
Okay, Did you have final remarks or something? Because I wanted to share you about the other 4 things.
I feel like we keep missing parts about camping, but it's just.
I think we went over it. Like,
Yeah.
What else? It was hard. It was awesome. We ate donuts.
I would do it
ate
again.
donuts.
We are doing it again.
Yeah, we're gonna do like
once a month
weekends.
kind of thing.
Or if
Even
if,
more?
if off-grid your mind starts
Man,
making money,
You don't have to convince me to go camping more.
once a month is
I'm
a good
saying
idea.
once a month because I'm just trying to be like maybe you have that much time, but I don't know.
It depends. Maybe sometimes I can't go.
Yeah.
You take the group of guys.
Yeah. Oh, I thought of that too.
So it would depend. But I was like, I really want this thing as much as like I don't want to make it into a business. There's a ton of people making money from having podcasts, having YouTube, whatever.
Well, something what I thought about is like not charging people to come, but like if you want to throw some money into like a pot or whatever where we can get more gear for everybody kind of thing, or I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to think. There's
Because we do have a lot of gear, but right
Yeah.
now, as what we have for tents, like my tent is a 4-person tent, yours is a 2-person tent. So
I
maximum.
have bigger tents too. Like I have a couple more tents. One tent is my parents. I don't know if I want to use that. But
Eventually, I want to start building shelters. Like I know how to do that. You saw the one when we were walking back. You kind of saw the one I built when I went solo winter
yeah,
camping.
yeah.
So I could like we can build shelters too. Yeah.
If it's a bigger group, like we can,
We could build a friggin' log cabin. If we had a big enough
or
group.
like in the winter, we can just pile a huge snow. Like that's what we did. There's
Igloo.
8 people that lived in that, and it was warm.
Mm-hmm.
It was hot. I was sleeping in a t-shirt in snow because of all that body heat from 7 people and not whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, so the closing thing.
Did we talk about camping? That's it.
Yeah.
Off your mind. Okay. Talk about off-grid your weekend. I share that. I kind of also want to do a kind of an off-grid your food as a cooking show,
Yeah.
like showing how to cook.
Well,
like a simple meal.
when we did that, when my family did the canning, when I did that little short
Either
reel,
canning that those.
I want to do stuff like that because there's like there's certain prepping meals that I've been wanting to try and make, like that Cold War one, or not Cold War, American Civil War. There's like this, it looks like a cracker, and apparently it will last forever. And I keep seeing it on all these prepping stuff, and I'm like, okay, I want to make that. I want to do an episode where I make my protein bars.
There's a ton of I like cooking, like even like doing the pork belly and
That was
soup
awesome.
and the buckwheat.
Yeah. So I'm not a big pork fan, and I never had buckwheat before, and both of those were amazing.
Yeah, so like having separate videos of either canning stuff, or it's all about just, you know how we off-grid our mind, we work out, we eat differently, and we learn new things. Those are like the...
And we read books. That's what the
yeah,
next episode.
but that's what off-grid your mind is. That's what the podcast is. We're learning, we're sharing like information. We're just sitting on our asses in a way, but we're still using our head to learn things. But off-grid your weekend, when we actually do it, live it there, off-grid your food is a cooking show. You know, what is it? Gordon Ramsay's. Have you ever seen Uncharted with him?
Uncharted.
Yeah, he like travels and like cooks
Oh.
with different cultures, but yeah, like something like that, and then off-grid your body
Fitness.
and I want to actually record 1,000 reps as a workout.
Yeah.
Like we
I
set
wanna
up
do-
we set up the tripod and we work out and we talk like with microphones. We talk like you're gonna do whatever, like 20 of whatever reps, and we try to reach 1,000 reps of
Well,
whatever it is.
I'll do my my what's it called, like wilderness workout, where people are like, oh, I can't afford a gym. Like, dude, get a pair of gloves. You can get from the dollar store, or from Home Depot has these buckets of $1 gloves. Get a pair of those. Go get a big heavy rock. That's all you need. It's free. It's in the woods.
But
Get a big heavy rock and a log, and then you get workouts.
yeah, I don't know about you, but I sometimes like watching a workout that it gives me a pace and ideas where I don't have to think. It's funny that in meditation, I always say like, I hate guided meditations because I just want to sit there. But a lot of people benefit from guided meditations. Like that's how they start meditating. That's how they learn about meditation. And to me, I like to work out by myself without listening to anything, just to work out. But sometimes I like to put a video of other people working out, just to give their pace and their instruction, or maybe I'll learn a different move. So I thought like we need to maybe again sometimes record a full 1,000 reps workout.
I think the only thing I can hit 1,000 right now is squats and sit-ups.
It could be anything though. That's the thing.
I guess
It doesn't
I
have
hit
to be
1,000
squats.
push-ups, but it's broken up so stretched
don't
out
have-
so far.
You don't have to do one thing. It could be jumping jacks.
Oh,
For
like 100 jumping jacks, 100 this, 100
you
that
can,
until you hit 1,000.
That's the whole point. Is
Oh,
that
okay.
you know, the company Beachbody, like P90X. You heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That's how I got into fitness when I was 18, because that guy really made it fun. And there's how they filmed it was him as instructor, and then there's 3 people behind him, one doing like the psycho version, one doing somewhere in between, and the third person was doing like super modified version
Like
of the
easier
same
version.
move. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we can do that same thing where like you're doing jumping jacks 100 or whatever. I could be doing, and it could be like depending on that day, depending on how we feel, depending on what you want. But it's just a matter of like doing a whole video, 1,000 reps of anything. Let's just do this. It could be a 1 hour of workout.